For the last 20 years, most of the world's attention on military power has been pointed in one direction. China. Massive naval fleets. New fighter jets rolling out of factories. Aircraft carrier programs. Hypersonic missile tests. Every headline about the future of warfare seems to feature Beijing. And that's not wrong. China has built an extraordinary military machine in an extraordinarily short time. But while everyone was watching the ships and jets and missiles, the United States was quietly building something completely different. Not bigger weapons. Not louder weapons. Smaller ones. Cheaper ones. Ones that don't need a human inside. Ones you can carry in a backpack. Ones that can sit on the ocean floor for 6 months without moving. Ones that patrol military bases with rifles mounted on their backs. The Pentagon calls this shift affordable mass, and it is quietly rewriting what modern warfare actually looks like. Because the future of combat isn't a single billion-dollar aircraft flown by one heroic pilot. The future is a swarm, a distributed network of autonomous machines that never sleep, never panic, never miss a shift, and can be produced faster than the enemy can destroy them. 8 of these machines have moved past the prototype stage. They have flown. They have fired. They have already been deployed. And the strategic implications are exactly the reason military planners in Beijing are paying very close attention to what the United States builds next. Some of these systems are so small you could hold one in your hand. Others weigh 10 tons and move in complete silence. Every one of them exists right now. Start with the one that broke a record nobody thought could be broken. In late 2025, a jet that had never been flown before lifted off from a runway in California. No pilot in the cockpit. No pilot on the ground with a remote control. The aircraft flew itself. The company that built it was called Anduril, a defense startup founded less than a decade earlier. The aircraft was called the YFQ-44A Fury, and the timeline behind that first flight was what really got the Pentagon's attention. 556 days. That's how long it took Anduril to go from a paper design to a flying, jet-powered combat aircraft. Less than 2 years. For context, most fighter jet programs take 15 to 20 years. Billions of dollars. Thousands of engineers. Endless prototypes and revisions and delays. The F-35 program took decades and hundreds of billions before it was operational. Anduril delivered a functional combat aircraft in the time it takes some countries to hold a single election cycle. That kind of speed doesn't just change one weapons program. It changes the entire economic logic of building military hardware. The Fury's role is what the military calls a loyal wingman. It's designed to fly alongside piloted fighters, the F-35, F-22, F-15EX. The pilot stays in the manned aircraft. The Fury flies as an autonomous partner. It carries extra weapons. It extends the range of the pilot's sensors, letting them see targets they couldn't see on their own. It can be sent forward into the most dangerous parts of a battlefield, where sending a human pilot would be suicidal. And if an enemy missile is fired at the manned aircraft, the Fury can be commanded to fly into the missile's path, destroying itself to save the human pilot's life. That single capability changes the calculus of air combat completely, because it means the enemy has to run out of missiles before the United States runs out of drones. And drones can be manufactured at industrial scale. Missiles cannot. That mismatch is the entire point. Mass production of the Fury has already started at a factory called Arsenal 1 in Ohio. Not a prototype line, not a demonstration facility. A real production line building real aircraft. The era of the single expensive fighter jet defended by one heroic pilot is ending. What replaces it is a formation of autonomous wingmen so numerous that no defensive system can stop them all. The pilot in that formation isn't obsolete. The pilot becomes something closer to a mission commander. Instead of flying one aircraft into a fight, the pilot commands a swarm. Each Fury can be dispatched to a different role, one carrying additional radar sensors, one carrying extra missiles, one running electronic warfare, one held in reserve. The human makes the tactical decisions from the safest position in the formation. The machines execute those decisions in the most dangerous positions. And when losses happen, they happen to aircraft, not to people. That distinction is the entire strategic point. The Fury handles the sky, but controlling the sky doesn't win a war on its own. Someone still has to take the ground. And the second machine on this list handles ground combat in a way no human tank crew could ever match. Picture a 10-ton armored vehicle moving across broken terrain in complete silence. No engine noise, no radio chatter, no human voices. It carries a 30mm autocannon capable of destroying most armored vehicles on Earth. It carries a machine gun for softer targets. It can carry an additional 3,600 kilograms of equipment, supplies, munitions, sensors, on its flat cargo deck. That's roughly the weight of 3 small cars. And it has no crew, no driver, no gunner, nobody inside. That's the Ripsaw M5, built by Textron Systems. And its most important feature isn't the firepower, it's the silence. The Ripsaw uses a diesel-electric hybrid engine. In stealth mode, it runs entirely on battery power, moving forward without producing the distinctive rumble that gives away every conventional armored vehicle. You cannot hear it coming. And in modern combat, hearing is often the first warning you get before you see. Sound travels further than sight, especially at night, especially in urban terrain, especially through thick vegetation. Remove the sound, and you remove the warning. The M5 can travel at over 64 kilometers per hour. That's roughly 40 miles per hour, highway speed for something the size and weight of a large truck. It can take direct hits from 12.7mm heavy machine gun rounds and keep operating. Those are the same rounds that would tear through the armor of most conventional light military vehicles. The Ripsaw made its first major public appearance in the 2025 parade celebrating the U.S. Army's 250th anniversary. That timing wasn't accidental. The message the Army was sending to allies, to the public, and to any potential adversary watching the parade footage was that the future of ground combat is being built right now. And it doesn't require human beings on the front line. Think about what silent armored combat actually means for the soldiers on the receiving end. Every conventional armored vehicle in history has announced itself. The rumble of a diesel engine carries for kilometers. Ground shakes. Radio chatter fills the air. Defenders get warning. They set up ambushes. They prepare positions. Silent armor removes that warning entirely. The first sign that the Ripsaw M5 is present might be the sound of its autocannon firing. By then, the fight is already over. That psychological effect, the impossibility of preparing for a threat you cannot detect, is a weapon in itself. There's another dimension to the Ripsaw's design that matters strategically. Because there's no crew compartment. The internal volume that would normally be dedicated to armor protecting human beings can be used for weapons, sensors, or ammunition instead. You get more firepower per ton of vehicle. And when the vehicle is destroyed, no families receive folded flags. The political cost of ground combat drops significantly. That changes what commanders are willing to attempt. Ground and air covered, but 2/3 of the planet is water. And that's where the third machine on this list operates, in a way that no other nation has managed to replicate. The Manta Ray is an autonomous underwater vehicle the size of a small whale. Built by Northrop Grumman for DARPA, the Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency. What makes it different from every other underwater drone is what it does when nobody is watching it. It sleeps. The Manta Ray is designed to descend to the ocean floor, anchor itself to the seabed, and enter an ultra-low-power dormant state. In that state, it consumes almost no energy. It doesn't move. It doesn't communicate. It doesn't emit any signal that could be detected by enemy sonar. It sits there, silent, patient, invisible, for weeks, for months. The bear hibernating through winter is the closest natural comparison. But this bear wakes up on command. When it receives an activation signal, the Manta Ray comes back to life and begins its mission. Long-duration surveillance, tracking enemy submarines, mapping seafloor terrain, delivering equipment or sensors to precise underwater locations. Then, when the mission is complete, it can return to dormancy and wait for the next order. A single deployment can span an entire operational season, half a year of coverage from a single vehicle. The strategic implication is enormous. Modern submarines are the most survivable weapons systems ever built. They spend their entire deployments hiding in the vastness of the ocean. Finding them is one of the hardest problems in military intelligence. The Manta Ray changes the math on that problem. A network of these vehicles could be seeded across the world's key waterways: the South China Sea, the Taiwan Strait, the Malacca Strait, the Persian Gulf, and left to monitor everything that passes through for months at a time. without any human presence and without any detectable signal. Even more remarkable is the Manta Ray's modular design. The entire vehicle disassembles into components that fit inside 5 standard shipping containers. Those containers can be loaded onto a cargo plane and flown anywhere in the world. On arrival, a small team of engineers can reassemble the vehicle in an afternoon. Deployment isn't a months-long logistical operation. It's an overnight flight and a workday of assembly. The Manta Ray completed successful open ocean tests off the coast of California in 2024, including the ability to detect and track advanced submarines. Which brings us back to the strategic calculus. China has been rapidly expanding its submarine fleet, projecting undersea power across the Pacific. Every new submarine adds capability. But if American underwater drones are already sitting on the seabed, watching those submarines transit the Pacific, the value of that fleet drops significantly. You can't project power effectively when everyone already knows where you are. There's a deeper implication in the Manta Ray's dormancy capability that's worth pausing on. Historically, undersea surveillance has been performed by nuclear submarines with crews of over 100 men on months-long deployments. Those submarines cost billions of dollars each. They require training programs that take years to produce qualified crews. They can only be in one place at a time. The Manta Ray flips every part of that equation. It costs a fraction as much. It requires no crew. It can be deployed in dozens of locations simultaneously. And because it's sleeping most of the time, its operational cost per day approaches zero. You're paying for the initial vehicle, not for a continuous presence. The economics of ocean surveillance are being rewritten. Underwater is one domain, but the fourth machine on this list operates in a completely different one, actually on 4 legs. The Ghost Robotics Vision 60 is a quadruped robot, a robot dog, that already patrols U.S. Army bases carrying a rifle. 51 kilograms. Runs at 3 meters per second. Sealed against dust and water. It works in temperatures from 40 below zero to 55 degrees Celsius. The freezing Arctic. The blazing desert. It doesn't matter. The Vision 60 keeps operating. During Operation Hard Kill at Fort Drum in New York, the U.S. Army demonstrated the Vision 60 aiming and firing an AR-15 rifle autonomously. The robot's onboard AI identifies targets, tracks them, and aligns the weapon. A human operator makes the final decision to pull the trigger. That distinction, human in the loop for the shoot decision, is critical to how the military uses these systems. But everything else about the engagement, the seeing, the tracking, the aiming, happens automatically. More recently, Ghost Robotics added a 6-degree of freedom robotic arm to the platform. That arm can open doors. It can pick up objects. It can operate simple tools. Combined with the robot's cameras, thermal imaging, and sensors, the Vision 60 can enter buildings on its own, clear rooms, identify people through walls by their heat signature, and defend itself if attacked. Its use cases have expanded far beyond military bases. It's being deployed at the U.S. border for surveillance patrols. It's guarding nuclear facilities where a single unauthorized visitor could create a disaster. It's stationed at overseas bases across the Indo-Pacific, many of them oriented toward the same theater where a potential conflict with China would be fought. The endurance factor matters as much as the capabilities. A Vision 60 patrolling a base perimeter doesn't need shift changes. It doesn't get tired at 3 in the morning. It doesn't get distracted by boredom on hour 7 of a monotonous patrol. Those are the exact conditions that produce security failures when human guards are stationed for long periods. A robot that never has an off day converts a chronic vulnerability into a solved problem. And it does it for a fraction of the ongoing cost of maintaining human security personnel with families and benefits and rotations and time off. Ground robots that can enter buildings and clear rooms bring us to the 5th machine. Because sometimes the door itself is the problem. The TRX Breacher is a smaller unmanned ground vehicle designed for one of the most dangerous jobs on any battlefield. Entering compromised structures, buildings that might be booby-trapped, rooms that might contain hostages or explosive devices. Situations where the risk of sending a human soldier through the door first is unacceptable. The breacher is built to go through that door first. It carries specialized breaching tools, cutting equipment, small explosive charges, sensors, and it operates autonomously or under remote control, depending on the mission. It can navigate stairs, corridors, and rubble. It can identify explosive threats and neutralize them before human forces enter. In hostage rescue scenarios, it can move through a structure providing real-time video and audio of what's inside, while the human team stays safe outside. Its most important role is in offense. It's reconnaissance in confined spaces. The Breacher is the machine that answers the question soldiers have been asking for centuries. What's on the other side of that door? Traditionally, the answer required someone to open the door and find out. That someone often died. The Breacher provides the answer without the casualty. The technology behind it draws on lessons learned from urban combat operations over the past 2 decades. Every deployment that produced casualties from booby-trapped buildings or ambushes at doorways contributed to the design philosophy. The result is a machine specifically engineered to eliminate one of the most consistent causes of soldier deaths in modern warfare. The Breacher clears the way. The next machine on this list carries everything the soldiers need after the way is cleared, and it doubles as a fighting vehicle when the mission changes. The small multi-purpose equipment transport is officially designated the SMED, but its combat-capable variant is called the Expeditionary Autonomous Vehicle, or EAV. Originally, it was designed for a simple job: follow infantry squads and carry their heavy equipment: water, ammunition, batteries, radio equipment, medical supplies, all the gear that soldiers on foot patrol traditionally carried on their backs. That job matters more than it sounds. A modern infantry soldier can be carrying 40 kilograms of equipment on a long mission. That weight slows them down, exhausts them, and reduces their combat effectiveness. Every hour of walking with a heavy load, the muscles get more tired. The reaction's slow. The judgment gets clouded. When contact with the enemy actually happens, the soldier is already fatigued before the fight starts. The SMET was designed to carry that weight instead of the soldier. Follow the squad autonomously, keep pace across rough terrain, and be there when the soldiers need supplies without requiring anyone to slow down for it. Then somebody at the Marine Corps had an idea. If this thing already follows the squad everywhere and carries 3,600 kilograms of cargo, why does the cargo have to be supplies? Why can't it be weapons? The EAV variant carries a 50 caliber machine gun, or a launcher for loitering munitions, flying weapons that circle overhead and strike when directed. The Pack Mule became a combat platform. A robot that was carrying water bottles an hour ago can now provide covering fire for the squad it's traveling with, or launch a drone strike against enemy positions. In October 2023, during the Apollo Shield exercise at 29 Palms, a group of EAVs traveled 50 kilometers of rough terrain completely autonomously. No human drivers. The vehicles used their onboard sensors and AI to navigate rocks, ravines, and difficult ground. They stayed in formation. They arrived at their destination. And they did it without a single Marine having to drive them. For the Marine Corps, which would be at the tip of the spear in any Pacific operation, that capability is a fundamental change in logistics. Fewer Marines needed to drive supply trucks. Fewer Marines exposed to enemy fire on resupply runs. More Marines available for actual combat operations. Supply lines that move on their own, defend themselves when attacked, and can even launch offensive strikes if the situation requires it. Supply, patrol, and fighting robots on the ground are impressive. But there's a category of weapon that fits in a soldier's backpack and can destroy a multi-million-dollar tank from 25 miles away. That's the Switchblade 600, made by AeroVironment. 23 kilograms. A single soldier can carry it, set it up, and launch it in under 10 minutes. It doesn't need a runway. It doesn't need a launch vehicle. Just one soldier, one tube, and one target. Once launched, the Switchblade climbs, deploys its wings, and flies to a target area up to 40 kilometers away. Then it loiters. It circles the target zone for up to 40 minutes, scanning the ground below with its cameras. The soldier who launched it watches the video feed and picks the target. Or in the newer autonomous variants, the drone itself identifies the target and prepares to strike. When the moment is right, the Switchblade dives at nearly 200 kilometers per hour and delivers its payload directly to the target on impact. That payload is based on the warhead used in the Javelin anti-tank missile. It can punch through the armor of any main battle tank in service anywhere in the world. A weapon that fits in a backpack, launched by one soldier, can destroy a piece of military equipment worth $10 or $20 million. That mismatch is the entire strategic point. It's the same mismatch that drove the Fury's design. The same mismatch driving the M5 and the EAV and everything else on this list. The cost of the offensive weapon must be dramatically lower than the cost of the target it destroys. If it costs you $50,000 to destroy an enemy tank worth $10 million, the math works in your favor forever. The enemy runs out of tanks before you run out of drones. That equation, repeated across every category of weapon, is what quiet military planners in Washington have been building toward for the past decade. For countries like China that have invested enormously in traditional armored vehicle fleets, thousands of tanks and armored personnel carriers built at enormous expense, a weapon that costs almost nothing and can be carried in a backpack fundamentally undermines the value of that investment. It doesn't matter how many tanks you have if the enemy can destroy them faster than you can build them. The Switchblade has already been tested extensively in real combat conditions. In Ukraine, similar loitering munitions have destroyed hundreds of Russian tanks and armored vehicles at a fraction of the cost of the vehicles they destroyed. The lessons from that conflict are being studied intensively by every military planning office in the world. The Switchblade 600 is the American answer to what the future of anti-armor warfare looks like. And the answer is small, cheap, autonomous, and everywhere. The Ukraine conflict deserves more attention here because it's the closest thing modern militaries have had to a real-world laboratory for autonomous weapons. Before Ukraine, most of the arguments for loitering munitions were theoretical. Simulations, war games, test exercises. After Ukraine, those arguments became documented reality. Small drones costing hundreds or thousands of dollars destroyed tanks costing millions. Traditional armored formations that would have been considered nearly invulnerable a decade ago turned out to be extremely vulnerable to small autonomous weapons operating at scale. Every armored vehicle program in every country's inventory is now being re-evaluated in light of that reality. And every country working on autonomous weapons has accelerated its programs. The Switchblade 600 is the American entry in a global race that Ukraine confirmed was real, which brings us to the last machine on this list. The smallest one, the one that might matter more than all the others combined. The Black Hornet is a nano drone, 16 centimeters long, 33 grams, less than the weight of a ping pong ball. You can hold it between two fingers. It fits in a soldier's shirt pocket. From more than a few meters away, you cannot see it flying, and you cannot hear it at all. Originally developed by a Norwegian company called Prox Dynamics and now manufactured by Teledyne FLIR, the Black Hornet carries 3 cameras, including thermal imaging that lets it see people in complete darkness by their body heat. It can fly 2 kilometers away from its operator while transmitting encrypted live video back in real time. The operational value is almost impossible to overstate. Imagine a soldier approaching a building where the enemy might be hiding. The traditional options are all bad. Kick the door open and hope for the best. Send in a stun grenade first. Call in fire support and level the building. Every option carries huge risks to the soldier, to any hostages inside, to civilians in the surrounding area. With a Black Hornet, the soldier has a new option. Take the nano drone out of the pocket. Launch it. Fly it through a window. See exactly who is inside, where they're standing, what they're armed with, and whether there are non-combatants present. All from a position of safety, watching a video feed on a handheld screen. The soldier can make an informed decision instead of a desperate one. Because it operates on battery power and has almost no acoustic signature, the enemy inside the building has no idea they're being watched. No warning, no noise, no visible drone. The intelligence advantage is complete, and it's provided by a device that weighs less than a slice of bread. The U.S. Army has invested over $125 million in Black Hornet acquisitions. Each unit costs around $40,000. That price sounds high for something so small until you consider what it replaces. If a $40,000 drone provides the intelligence that saves one soldier's life on one mission, it has paid for itself in an outcome that no accountant can put a dollar value on. And these drones don't get used once. They get deployed on mission after mission after mission, providing situational awareness at every stage of an operation. For all the enormous machines on this list, jet-powered wingmen, 10-ton silent tanks, whale-sized underwater drones, the smallest one might be the most transformative. Because information is the most valuable resource in modern combat. And the Black Hornet delivers information into places no other technology can reach. Now step back from the individual machines and look at what they add up to. 8 systems: air, ground, water, personal scale, autonomous, semi-autonomous, and remote operated, weighing 30 grams up to 10 tons, costing $40,000 up to hundreds of millions. Every one of them designed around the same core idea: take the human out of the most dangerous positions. Keep the human in the decision loop for the critical choices. Deploy the machines in numbers that no defensive system can fully absorb. That's the shift. That's the actual strategic revolution. It's not any single weapon. It's the entire logic of how military force is built and used. For most of the 20th century, military power was measured by capital ships and combat aircraft and armored divisions. Big, expensive, human-crewed platforms. The country with the biggest fleets and the most aircraft carriers and the largest tank forces was the strongest. That logic drove military spending for 100 years. It drove China's massive military expansion. And it drove America's own investments in enormous programs like the F-35 and the Ford-class aircraft carrier. But underneath that visible spending, the Pentagon was quietly building an entirely different kind of force. Cheaper, smaller, more numerous, more autonomous, and more difficult to counter because there are so many of them that no defensive system can address every threat simultaneously. Anduril didn't exist 20 years ago. Neither did Ghost Robotics. Neither did the companies building most of these systems. They came into existence because the Pentagon actively invited a new generation of defense startups to build unconventional weapons at unconventional speeds. 556 days from concept to first flight isn't just about one aircraft. It's proof that the traditional defense acquisition system, the one that takes decades and hundreds of billions of dollars to field a single aircraft, is no longer the only path. There's a parallel system running now, and that parallel system is delivering. China has been watching all of it. Chinese defense analysts have written detailed public papers about American autonomous systems. Chinese military exercises have started incorporating simulated defenses against loitering munitions and swarming drones. Chinese defense industry announcements increasingly emphasize their own unmanned systems programs. The message is being received, but receiving the message and matching the capability are two very different things. Building autonomous systems at scale requires more than just funding. It requires a defense industrial ecosystem that can absorb small startups, contract quickly with them, and get their products into military use within years rather than decades. That kind of ecosystem takes time to build. The United States has been quietly building it for over 10 years. Anyone trying to catch up now is starting from behind. The 8 machines in this video are the visible tip of a much larger shift. Behind them are hundreds of other programs in various stages of development: swarm coordination software, autonomous munitions, next-generation sensors, AI-driven target recognition, distributed command and control systems. Every one of those programs will eventually produce its own visible weapon system. And every one of those weapon systems will land in the same strategic direction: autonomous, cheap, numerous, impossible to counter through traditional means. The next war, if there is a next war, will not look like the last one. It won't be aircraft carriers versus aircraft carriers. It won't be tank divisions versus tank divisions. It will be swarms of autonomous machines contested by other swarms of autonomous machines, with humans making key decisions from far behind the front line. The country that has built the most mature autonomous ecosystem will have an advantage that traditional military strength cannot overcome. And this is where the mismatch between American and Chinese military approaches becomes most visible. Chinese military spending over the past 2 decades has emphasized traditional capital-intensive platforms: aircraft carriers, stealth fighters, ballistic missile programs. Every one of those investments is enormous. Every one of them takes years to complete. And every one of them is exactly the kind of target that a mature autonomous ecosystem is designed to defeat at a fraction of the cost. An aircraft carrier costs roughly $13 billion. It takes 8 years to build. It requires a crew of 6,000 people. A Switchblade 600 costs approximately $100,000, though the smaller Switchblade 300 costs less than a tenth of that. A swarm of a few dozen loitering munitions could threaten operations of a carrier group at a fraction of a percent of the carrier's cost. That's not a fair exchange rate. That's a currency the traditional platform simply cannot afford to trade in. Right now, the country with the most mature autonomous ecosystem is the United States. That's the story behind these 8 machines.